Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily Reads. Oh my gosh, it's not Emily Reads anymore. I am so used to saying Emily Reads. It's Emily's Excellent Epics. Yay! Oh my gosh. So today is Tuesday of my spring break. I apologize for if it looks kind of gloomy in here. It's gloomy out. It is raining. I'm not going to complain. We have been in a drought, and I live in it's like the Twin Cities where I live, kind of. And the town where I work in, where we get our water from, that town, um, the lake is actually 8 feet shorter than what it normally is, where we get our water source from. So they had to switch over to a different lake. And because we haven't had a lot of rain, the water has been still, and the algae count is really high. And they're like, oh, it's fine, it's safe to drink from, but the water tastes really gross. So I'm like, bring me the rain so that way that water can go back up. Where I live, my town, the water is fine. We have well water where I live, but work water is not. So I do have now a new big, huge water bottle, so that way I don't have to fill up my water at work because that water is really gross. At any rate, spring break, got my taxes done. I don't file my taxes, like I don't fill out the form. I take it to H&R Block. Yes. Do I have to pay for it? Yes. Is it peace of mind for me? Absolutely, because mine aren't simple to fill out because both my parents have passed away and I have stuff that I inherited from them. And no, I'm not by any means rich, but just some stock stuff that I don't understand, and I'll let someone else take care of that. At any rate, taxes are done. Yay! And they were done a whole lot quicker than I would have done them, and with 0 tears shed. So here's my April pile of possibilities. They're all books that I plan on reading in April. Will I get to them all? No, but I don't think I'm going to have like a curveball thrown in there. And here's what's funny. So I filmed this yesterday, and I forgot to pick from my Reader on Haul jar. So I have this jar, and I took inspiration from a lot of booktubers. So Emily over at Books with Emily Fox has a series on this. Becca over at Becca Books and Bujo does something like this. I know Gavin now at Gavin Reads It All, and Becca does like a Shelve It or Scrap It over at Becca and the Books. Mine is just I draw one slip from this jar per month because I have too many things that I want to read, and I don't read like, there's some people who read like 15 to 20 books a month. I am not that person. I read 6 to 8 during the school year, and that for sure more on the summertime. I can put it back if I know that I'm like, there's no way I'll get to it. But I don't want to do that on a consistent basis. The colors in here don't mean anything. I know some people do colors different. Each color represents a different genre. That's not me. It's just, hey, this is the post-it note that I had available when I wrote down the title. So I forgot to film this part yesterday. So here we are back at it because I don't know how to edit. And that's okay. I have time to do this because it's my spring break. So let's see what I'm going to pull. Hopefully it's a decent one. It's an orange one. Winter Garden. Oh, that's a Kristen Hanna book. Okay. Okay, I could read that. All right, Winter Garden. So, which is good because it's not, I don't think it's one of her more well-known ones, like Four Winds and The Women and The Nightingale. And I have it. I want to read it. But if I don't get to it, I'm okay with unhauling it. It's not a big deal, like, because I can easily find it at the library if I ever want to go back to reading it. So Cool. Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna. All right, so then let's go and talk about some other books that I plan on reading. There's kind of like a loose read along of this series on Killing Time with Cozy's Discord. And so I've already read Shudder Off Dead. So book 2 in the Cheese Shop Mystery series by Karina Moss is Gone for Gouda. And first of all, I love how this is like a bigger, like mass paperback kind of size. And I need to find, I hope the rest of these books are like this size because I'm liking this. At any rate, this follows Willa, who has started kind of like a fine cheese shop in Yarrow Glen, which is a small town in Sonoma Valley. And of course, it's cozy mystery. There's going to be murders happening and she's going to try to solve them. There is, it seems like, to be a hint of romance, but there's no love triangle. Hallelujah, because a lot of cozies have love triangles. And like as adults, I feel like, come on, let's not do love triangles. So there's that. So I plan on reading that. I do also. So I've been trying to do the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. And one of the prompts is a classic and then an adaptation from the classic. And the classic that I picked is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I did start it. I need to make a little bit more progress on this over spring break, slowly but surely. But I've been trying to read other books too because I'm doing Ramadan. But I figured out, I did the math, that if I read 30 pages in this a day, I'll be able to finish this in April. So, like, start and finish it. So, we shall see. Fingers crossed. So far, it's not bad. But if you don't know about David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, it's just the story of David Copperfield's life. I should mention that. It's the story of David Copperfield's life. Of course, talks about poverty, the plight of children and orphans and women, and just what their status or lack thereof in Victorian England is like. So there's that. Then Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books and Sarah over at the Bookish Knitter, they do Amish in April. And it's like a 9-day time period. I'm not following that 9-day time period simply because I don't know if I'll be in the mood, when I'll be in the mood for this book. So I just want to be able to just read it whenever I want to in April. And the whole point of Amish in April is read either Amish related books or Amish adjacent, meaning it takes place in Amish country. So, and for that, I'm going to be reading Assaulted Caramel by Amanda Flower. And this is the first book in the Amish Candy Shop mystery series. And this follows Bailey King, who is a chocolatier. She works in New York City. And then she gets a phone call from her grandmother, says, your grandfather's heart condition has worsened. So she travels back to Ohio, where her grandparents lives, and she helps run the Amish candy shop. So I've heard really good things about this series, so need to read that. For the virtual, I'm part of a virtual book club, and we have selected A Song to Drown the Rivers by Anne Liang to read for our book in April. And this is, hold on here. This is inspired by the legend of Shishi. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Which is a famous four beauties of ancient China. So it's basically about Shishi, who is beautiful, and she draws the attention of a military advisor, and who basically says that you can use your beauty as a weapon. So she is trained then to go inside the enemy palace and I don't know. So it sounds intriguing. From what I understand, this is a standalone. So we don't get too many standalones at only like slightly over 300 pages in fantasy. So that right there is exciting. But I'm excited to read this book. I think I've heard good things about this. Then I am reading through Throne of Glass, and I am at Queen of Shadows, which would be book 5 in the Throne of Glass series. And I am really looking forward to it because we got introduced to Manon or Manon. I don't know how you pronounce her name. I don't listen to audiobooks, so I'm pronouncing it Manon and Abraxas, and I want more of them. They're cool, so I'm eagerly looking forward to more of them. But if you're not sure what the Throne of Glass series is, we follow Selena, who is a trained assassin, and she was taken from the salt. She ends up being enslaved in these salt mines at the very start of the series, and she's taken out of these salt mines by Kale and Dorian, who is the prince and Dorian of the kingdom. And Dorian's like, my father is holding this competition to see who will be his like champion and like the assassin to the king. And so she enters into this competition, and we learn more about her and her skills and her background throughout the series, and about the magic of this land. So I need to read more of this. I'm trying to read a book a month, but next month is going to be the tandem read, so that'll be interesting. Ooh, so sorry. My neighbors like they slammed their door and it was totally like unexpected, so I jumped there for a minute. Sorry about that. All right, and then I also really want to read book 9 in Keeper of the Lost Cities, which is Stellar Lune and by Shannon Messenger. I've really been enjoying Keeper of the Lost Cities. We follow Sophie, who she was raised by humans, and at 12 years old, she learns that she's not human, she's actually an elf. And that explains why she's got this strange ability where she can hear other people's thoughts. So she gets taken to the elven world where she learns about her abilities and trying to figure out what else to say because it's so spoilery. But where we're at right now, I need to know more about Keith. Like my man Keith. Some things have happened and I need to know more. So depending on how things go for my reading month for the rest of April over spring break, I might start this over spring break, because either this or I don't know. It just depends. Because I'm also, like I said, I'm also doing Ramathon. Then I also want to read Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. For the hardest reading challenge that you'll ever do, one of the prompts is read a book. Trying to figure out how to phrase this. So read a book in the season that it's set in. So if it's set in winter, you read it in winter. If it's set in spring, you read it in spring. Well, April is spring, and this is set in spring. And so this is about Lara and her 3 daughters. They return to the family's orchard in northern Michigan, and the daughters want their mother to tell them about Peter Duke, who is a famous actor, and their mother shared a stage in a romance with Peter Duke. So I've heard really good things about this book, so looking forward to reading that. Sorry, I'm looking at my reading basket. I'm like, what is that? What happened? Oh, okay. I see what happened. I also need to read Mistborn: A Secret History. I finished Rhythm of War this month. Woo! So good. So I need to read Mistborn: A Secret History, and then I can read The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson, which I need to read this book I've heard before I read, I just lost it, Wind and Truth, book 5. Because one, I've been reading in publication order. I've been trying to. And two, I've heard that now the megaverse is now becoming more and more, like the Easter eggs are becoming more significant. And so this is book 4 and the last installment in Mistborn Era 2. In Mistborn Era 2, we follow Wax and Wayne, and they are, it's kind of like an old west kind of thing. And how, to me, I like it as like a dime store Western novel, just kind of like campy. Book 1 was, but it definitely gets more serious. It's been a little bit since I've read Mistborn Era 2. So I'm hoping I can remember and dive back into it because I'm not rereading. And that is it for April. That's a lot to read. So if anything, I might push back the Lost Metal to May, if I need to. Because there's no way I'm going to read Wind and Truth in May. There's no way. I already know that. Because Wind and Truth is like a 1,400 page book. And May is one of the busiest, most stressful months of the school year for a special education high school teacher. Not going to happen. We're going to tackle Wind and Truth over the summer, because that's when I'll have time to sit down and read chonky fantasy. At any rate, have you read any of these books? What do you think I should prioritize? What are you looking forward to reading in April? If you're not quite sure what to comment, a stack of books or a flower for spring would always be appreciated. That helps my channel grow, helps move the logarithm. Also, just as always, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.